So yeah, Tony, please, if you can start.
First of all, Stephen, can you just let us know of injury concerns? Obviously, Evan Ferguson was a bit doubtful earlier in the week. Chidozie Ogbeni, Jamie McGrath. So how are they all doing, and are they fit enough to be considered starters?
Yeah, Evan Ferguson is fit enough to play. He's fine. Jamie McGrath's fine. Unfortunately, Chidozie Ogbeni is out.
And can you tell us what's wrong? What his injury is?
Yeah, he's two injuries, but it's an ankle injury really has ruled him out from. He hasn't been able to train this week. He hasn't trained at all, so he hasn't been able to put his foot in a boot properly, and also he had a tight hamstring which forced him to come off late against Liverpool, and he played against Manchester United last week, but he didn't feel he could sprint fully and has been anxious about that as well.
And how will that change your game plan, because he's been such an important player for you?
Yeah, Joe's been terrific. He has been excellent. He must say he's been a shining light for us. But regardless, it's an opportunity for other players, and that's the way certainly we have to view it.
Thank you.
Stephen Dorr. Justin.
Stephen, just regards to the start for tomorrow night's game, you went out against the Dutch, pressed them really high in the first half in Dublin. Ronald Koeman admitted today he wasn't expecting that kind of approach. Is that something you'll be looking at to do tomorrow?
Well, it's certainly an option. I think, listen, it's a great game coming to Amsterdam to play Holland. We should really look forward to it. It's been a long time since Ireland have been here. It's over 20 years since Ireland have been here playing against Holland in a competitive fixture. And so it's one the players should really relish. Great opportunity to play one of the best teams in Europe. Okay, they're playing to win, to go to the Euro, so the big motivation for the Dutch players to do it in their own city in front of their own fans. Alternatively, we have fantastic travelling support. With great support against Gibraltar, travelling in Portugal, and then again, terrific away support tomorrow night. So it'll be a brilliant atmosphere in a game that we can look forward to.
Just can I get a reaction as well from you, Stephen, on the apology letter today from the CEO, Jonathan Hill? Obviously, it's a story that's rumbled on for the whole week. It's perceived from outside of football as being very damaging to the association, especially when they're looking for money to invest in football, $500 million of taxpayers' money. What's your own reaction to what's gone on the last week and the apology itself? Do you think that will be good enough to move this story on?
Okay, first of all, I'm not sure of the exact details of the situation, but as Jonathan has said, all money has been paid back in relation to whatever tax issue it was. Listen, overall, I feel Jonathan is someone who looks like he's a very, very capable CEO, and obviously he's had to come in difficult times and manage the organisation, and he's assembled a whole new senior leadership team, and that's it's obviously very professional and very driven. So I don't know every detail because I'm not party to the discussions. I'm not involved in those discussions, but that's all I can say is that he's been quite professional overall, and I think a lot of people are very clear in their roles. Obviously, they changed a lot of the departments, and it's clear demarcation. I can see in the clearly defined roles for the various departments. But he's been very supportive of the football side of it at all levels. So I don't know. I'm not sure of all the details, but so I can't comment on everything. But that's how I'd view it.
Damien Spam, please.
Stephen, as a group, what have you learnt from this campaign?
As a group, Well, I think we've learned a lot for sure, and it's for us now. It's about these two games: Holland tomorrow night and New Zealand on Tuesday. We want to finish the year strongly. I think it's a fantastic game against Holland. The history of Irish football, all the great Irish teams of the past, some legendary players in the past. But as we spoke earlier in the week, there's been elusive the number of big away victories in that period. Obviously, there has been victories in tournaments and World Cups and European Championships, but in terms of qualifiers, those big beating the major countries has proved elusive for even the best teams. So for us, it's a massive, massive challenge to play Holland on the night that they can qualify in Amsterdam. It's a huge, huge challenge, and one that we must embrace and look forward to and be positive about. And so the players are well prepared for the task ahead.
Alan, the results perhaps haven't gone as you would have wanted in the campaign, but do you as players feel that progress has been made?
Yeah, definitely. I know I've seen a lot of stuff in the media and that, we've come under a lot of criticism, and rightly so in terms of results. It's been a tough one because the group we got, we knew it was an uphill battle right from the start. The teams that we got, I think we were really unfortunate, and I think any other team would find themselves really unfortunate with it as well. But that's what you're up against, the best teams in the world, and if you want to progress and succeed, you've got to beat them. But in terms of actual performances, I think we've come a long way, whether people see that or not. We believe that within the group, we can see that within the group, and hopefully it continues for a long time. Certainly from when I first came in on my debut, I think in terms of team performances, we've definitely come a long way, and we know that as players and as staff as well, and we've all been in it together and given our all, but just come up short in terms of results.
Gavin Cooney, please.
How are you, Alan? As a group, what have you talked about in terms of what you need to do to turn those slender defeats into victories?
It's small margins within games. I think there hasn't been any game really, I think, apart from France away, which is a difficult place for anyone to go, even at the best of times. I think there's just little moments within games that have cost us, that haven't gone away. We've had chances, haven't took them, and teams at this level, they're going to punish you if you don't take your chances when they come along, because you don't get many at this level, and we've obviously found that out the hard way. We don't want to keep harping on about how far we've come, how well we think we've been playing, because at the end of the day it is down to results, and that's ultimately what we'll be judged on. So we're obviously really disappointed with results, certainly this campaign, but yeah, I think it's just moments within games, and certainly with the teams that we faced, the quality within those teams, they're going to take advantage of those moments.
Yeah. And just Stephen, on those, as Alan talks about small margins and those moments going against you, when you look back at them, those moments that have gone against you, are there consistent trends there that's letting you down, or are they just all kind of individual moments of their own that you can't really do much about?
Well, I think it's a big question that encompasses a lot of games. So I think it's been well documented. People are saying we conceded a higher percentage of goals from outside the box, and that was an issue. But I think probably in the games against Greece and Holland, in the two home games, the disappointing part from our point of view is that we conceded on the counter-attack. I think the first game against Holland, we were 1-0 up and had a chance to go 2-0 up, and then we committed to a game plan, to be fair. We didn't drop off once we scored, but we got caught on the counter-attack for their penalty. So that was something we could have avoided, I feel. And we got punished. And they will punish you, Holland. And the top teams, they do punish you. That's everything, every space that you leave at that critical time against the top teams is exploited and punished. So it's a harsh lesson. And so again, you know, we found that against Greece when we, in the ascendancy, for that long period before half time, a lot of the play, and you know, a lot of territorial corners, throw-ins in the 45th, 47, 48, and we conceded, counter-attacking the 48 minutes. So we can't blame anyone else, only ourselves on that, you know. So that was a goals, probably a couple of goals that we shouldn't have conceded.
Final questions in the live from Ed and then McDara.
Stephen, I suppose the pressure's off to a certain extent tomorrow night. Are you hopeful that we can get to see the very best of what this squad can offer? And should the team come away with a result, how much would that mean to you, both personally and professionally, at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big challenge. Holland showed that quality when they beat Greece 3-0 here. They were 3-0 up at half time against Greece, and you know, they beat them very convincingly. So that's what they're capable of, and we're well aware of that. But at the same time, it's a very narrow game in Dublin. Very, very tight game overall, and in that we didn't concede many chances in the game, believe it or not too many. And I think for a large period of the game, in possession, we were absolutely excellent as well, for large periods of the game. So we've got to play really well. We've played exceptionally well tomorrow night to get a result, but we're happy with the team that we have. And okay, Chidozi's missing, who gives you a cutting edge, but regardless, I'm pleased with the team that we have tomorrow. Very pleased, and we're looking to put in a very, very strong performance, and that's what we must strive to do.
McDara?
Alan, the Dutch know they win tomorrow, they qualify. Does spoiling a party maybe come into motivation in front of what will be a big home support, but also a big travelling support for your team?
Yeah, it's not so much about spoiling our party, but we want to come here and win. They'll obviously be right up for it, but I think they'll also be aware that we can play with a bit of freedom. It's a bit of a free hit for us, which is obviously disappointing to say as a player, but that's the way it is. And yeah, we want to win the game, spoil our party to an extent, but it's not, you know, a vendetta against them. It's just, you know, as a professional, you want to win every game that you're playing, and especially at the highest level against one of the best teams in the world, you want to go and beat them, and it'd mean an awful lot for us to get that result. But we know it's going to be difficult and really tough, so we'll see what happens on the night.
We'll move into the embargo section now. So the embargo is midnight tonight local time. So midnight tonight local time. We'll start with Neil O'Riordan over here if you can. Neil, put your hand up for...
Right. Alan, I think you've only not featured in 2 out of the last 19 games over the last 2 years. Despite the disappointment of the results, do you take a lot of satisfaction from your kind of growth as an international player?
Yeah, I think certainly from when I started, I think I've only gotten better, and you know, I've obviously worked really hard in that, but you know, with the coaching staff that we have, I think they've been excellent with all of us, and I think as a group and individually, we've all benefited from that and all improved game on game. And you know, the gaffer and the staff have showed a lot of faith in me. Like you said there, I didn't actually know that, but to know that you feature in so many games, it's obviously a good feeling. It just shows, you get rewarded for your performances and your workload, and I just try and do my best every game that I feature in.
And Stephen, could I just ask you, I appreciate he's young, but when fans hear that Evan Ferguson is fit, they get a lift. What does it mean to you as a coach and the players when a player who has kind of proven himself at a high level at a young age is available for selection?
Yeah, I think it's important. We mustn't expect too much. We must be cognizant of Evan's age. He's obviously made the breakthrough and played international football at 18, and he's just turned 19. So he's got an all-round game, and he's got a few goals already for Ireland. He's been in the stadium last week, of course. So he's been very positive this week. Very positive. He could have easily been pulled out of the squad or opted to pull out, having not been available for his club last week. But he's here and he's determined to do well, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And we're looking forward to. We hope no pressure on him tomorrow. Just want to come and enjoy his football and show his quality.
Damn it, Dom.
Alan, players at all levels will often speak about winning, breeding confidence. I'm just wondering, in the group, there's been a lot of near misses and disappointments over the last year. Has that affected the morale levels? Has that affected the belief levels of the group?
Not as much as you might think. I think, given the circumstances, given the opposition that we faced, it obviously doesn't hurt as much. When you try and go toe to toe with these teams and you don't come far off, you can take a bit of credit, a bit of confidence from that. We try and stay as positive as we can. Not saying we're happy to lose games. We're obviously disappointed after every game we lose, even draws to an extent. But yeah, we reflect on those games, we analyse them, and when you see it back and you see all the positives and then the moments that cost you, you kind of think there's not an awful lot in it. It's goals are obviously massive and goals change games, and I think we found that out in a lot of games. Where we might be on top, we feel something coming, and then it's a sucker punch at the other end, and it changes the whole game and changes the whole outcome of it, because from that point teams change the way they play, and you've got to adapt to it and come out even more, try get another goal. It is really difficult, and that's the difference in quality at the minute. But again, we're not too far off it, and hopefully it's not going to be this campaign, but going into the next and the ones after, we can benefit from those performances and change those wins or those losses or draws into wins or draws, and keep accumulating as many points as we can and find ourselves in better positions.
Stephen, can I just ask you, losing Chidozie and even maybe Festi earlier in the week, maybe two of the quicker players in your group, has that led you to maybe alter your game plan for tomorrow as you might have envisaged it coming into the camp?
Not necessarily alter our game plan. Doesn't alter our game plan. It doesn't mean that players have similar characteristics. They don't. Chidozie's unique, and Festi, I think this has been a good window for Festi. He knew that coming into it, that it would have been opportunities in this window for him for sure, on the back of his good performances for Udinese, and he knew that coming in. But just he was unfortunate. Again, he hasn't trained with us. He was in all week hoping to get himself right. His abductor injury that he played with last week. He was struggling at club level last week, but he played the weekend anyway, and just inflamed it again. So he was struggling with that abductor. We were hoping it would ease and he'd be okay, but it wasn't the case. But to get to the question, it doesn't really alter a game plan. Just the characteristics within that they're unique players, as you say. So it doesn't really mean tactically it's different, but just that we players with different strengths.
Mark McCann, please.
Stephen, just the FAI, there was a tweet on the number of players that you've given competitive debuts to and stuff. Is there anyone in particular, or any players that kind of particularly satisfying, maybe in terms of their journey or so on?
No, to be honest, I wouldn't like to pick out any individual. I think collectively, it's obviously been quite a radical shift over the last couple of years, and there's been criticism for that, for introducing too many players too soon. But I think, in my view, they were the players with the greatest potential at that period of time, and I think that will be proved to be the case going forward. I feel this Irish team now, this group of players, in the future will be, a lot of them have already moved up the divisions in their professional careers, and I think that the experience that they have had over the last campaign will stand them in really good stead going forward.
Philip Quinn.
Stephen, you mentioned the radical shift. The man to your right, Alan, has been a constant through your campaign. I'm over here, sorry.
Yes,
sorry, okay. I know sometimes it's difficult to talk with someone sitting right beside you, but what sort of contribution has Alan made over the last 3 years, 3.5 years? And also, is he a candidate to captain the team tomorrow night?
I think he's had last season was a tough season for him, injury wise, because he had to contend with some muscle injuries and some calf issues, and that sort of ruled. Although he was involved in the summer, he had no preparation coming into the summer window, and that affected his availability for that. But he's shown his quality this year with his club at Preston. Preston are fourth in the league, and he's been their best player. And he's been their captain and their leader, and he's had a tremendous season to date. And I suppose in my time, it's been tough for him because he's had to play in a lot of different positions, and he's been played in a lot of different positions. But it's hard. Some of the best players, it's hard to score goals at international level, but he scored goals against good teams: Serbia away, Belgium, Scotland, Norway. He scored goals. He's not a forward, so he's come up with those goals from either midfield or wing back, and and we need that, because we need goals from different areas. So he'll certainly he had a good game against Holland in the previous game, and he'll be looking to make his mark tomorrow night.